Hi everyone, my name is Gabriel and this is the Hour of the Raven, your channel for everything Ravenloft, RPG, Dungeons and Dragons, and horror. Today, we unveil the history of the Sea of Sorrows, a sea covered in mist and marked by the tragedy and horrors of those who dare to explore its waters. Before we begin, some brief announcements. First, I would like to wish everyone happy holidays, a Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year. To celebrate in style, I am very happy to announce that after a year of writing and production, but almost no releases, we will finally publish another Black Feather book on the DM's Guild. The Horrors of Koth is an adventure set in the domains of our first book, The Dread Space, a crossover of Spelljammer and Ravenloft with space-themed domains of dread. Exploring the mysteries of a Spelljammer vessel lost in the forbidden space of the Jung-Jitorak system, the adventure explores themes of body horror and cosmic horror, and draws inspiration from works such as Alien, Event Horizon, Dread Space, and The Fly to bring terror and despair to the explorers of the Dread Space. The adventure has just been released, and the link is in the video description. Stay tuned, folks, for in 2025 we plan to release at least 2, if not more, books by the Black Feather. Today we will explore the Sea of Sorrows, and we will expand our reference sources to address this domain. Our explorations through the mists in the core domains of Ravenloft generally cover domains that had already been featured in novels, adventures, and especially in Ravenloft Gazetteers, books that provide detailed information about the domains and their Dark Lords. The Sea of Sorrows first appeared on the map of the Black Box, Ravenloft Realm of Terror from 1919, and was expanded and gained more details and a Dark Lord who rules it in the book Domains of Dread. After this first introduction, it received some mentions in other supplements and in the 3rd edition Ravenloft campaign setting. The domains would be covered in one of the 3rd edition Gazetteers, focused on the Sea of Sorrows, but unfortunately, White Wolf's license to release books for the setting came to an end, and these books were not written. The Ravenloft fan community wouldn't let the setting rot in oblivion. The Fraternity of Shadows website, the most well-known and organized site for fans of the setting, has published netbooks that continue the Gazetteer proposal, exploring in depth the domains of dread. Some of these books explore the Nocturnal Sea, the domain of Sorang, or the cluster of Zerisha, for example, and for some time now they are developing a gazetteer for the Sea of Sorrows. Although the Sea of Sorrows gazetteer is not yet finalized, some of its passages describing domains have already been previewed by their authors in the Court of the Raven netbooks. In the video description I will leave the link where you can download it. The next video about the Sea of Sorrows will be based on the official material and the article about the Sea of Sorrows, written by Nathan Dmitry Stanislaw Oakland. The article on the Sea of Sorrows was published as a preview of the Gazetteer, and it's possible that the final text will change when the Gazetteer is finally published. Are you ready? On our journey back to the mainland, we cross the Sea of Sorrows as sailors on a Paridonese vessel. After a slow crossing through a wall of mist, we finally emerge in the icy waters of the Sea of Sorrows. A hard day's work on the vessel is followed by fellowship and stories from our crewmates, and our experienced captain of the mists and his first mate tell us more about the past horrors that haunt the history of the Sea of Sorrows. Hour of the Raven. To study the history of an ocean is to study the history of its sailors and explorers, of those who dared to launch their vessels in these waters in search of its mysteries. In this sense, no record about these seas is older than those of modern sailors. Although in the distant past this nation was once linked to an ocean of its original world, after being swallowed by the mists, the seas of Mordant extended only a few miles from its coast. Ancient reports from its fishing boats state that the waters that extended along its coast did not exceed a few miles until they encountered an enormous wall of mist. Did the Sea of Sorrows exist as we know today, beyond this wall of mist? This is a question that remains unanswered. Some brave sailors risked exploring the sea beyond the wall of mist, although the majority never returned from their venture. Still, some inaccurate and ancient reports say that those who ventured into the mist waters northwest of Lamordia could reach the waters of a region called Nebligdold and the Graben Islands, which today are found in the Far East in the Nocturnal Sea. Could this island have been connected to the Sea of Sorrows in the past? Everything indicates the presence of some undocumented mistway connecting both oceans. The opening of the Sea of Sorrows, where the dense barrier of mist receded, occurred in 630 of the Barovian calendar. The Sea of Sorrows, although still marked by the presence of fog and mist, now seemed like a navigable expanse, challenging sailors and explorers to venture into the unknown. The name of the Sea of Sorrows was also coined by modern sailors, when one of them described that its cold grey waters were like an ocean of tears, and that they sailed on a sea of sorrows. The year 630 also marks an event registered in the port records of Mordant, and who is also installed in the popular imagination of the sailors. While Mordant at the time only had fishing vessels, unable to launch into open sea, the city of Mordantshire saw the arrival of a large and robust vessel in its port, the Relentless. This vessel, registered at the port under the command of Captain Van Ries, a middle-aged man with an imposing presence, who intended to recruit sailors to join his crew. This mysterious figure is perhaps part of the legend that still circulates throughout these oceans, about the Relentless and his mysterious captain, ghostly sailing through the waters as a sign of bad omen for all those who cross paths with them. Many believe that he is a man of such strong will that he refuses to acknowledge death. Others believe that he is a haunting that plagues the oceans, and some believe that he is capable of sailing to hell and back. But all know that his visage is a bad omen for any sailor or vessel. Discarding this sailor superstition, the history of the Sea of Sorrows is a story of exploration and discovery, and the emergence of its islands. The first inhabited island found by navigators of the Sea of Sorrows was Blaustein, and it is also the one that represents one of the greatest dangers to navigators. The island's first records of contact with navigators took place in the winter of 643, when it was first discovered and mentioned in navigation charts by sailors from Mordant. Records from this time indicate attempts at trade and diplomacy, which perhaps indicates that the island did not yet have the infamous violent nature that is attributed to it today. However, shortly after this first contact, there are already signs that the island has become a refuge for criminals and privateers, with its rulers encouraging and sponsoring piracy as the main economic activity. In 685 of the Barovian calendar, a new island was discovered by Lamordian navigators. To the north of the archipelago known as the Fingers, the island of the Mees was discovered by a vessel, where maps previously identified only open sea. The island, with ancient ruins, had remained uninhabited and abandoned since then. Several navigators have continued to explore the Sea of Sorrows and expand the limits of their navigation maps. Its biggest change, however, occurred with the events of the Grand Conjunction, which drastically transformed its maps. In 740 of the Barovian calendar, the lands of Markovia and Gehenna, which lay at the heart of the core, disappeared, leaving behind the mysterious Shadow Rift. In the case of Markovia, these lands, ripped from the continent, emerged as a huge island in the Sea of Sorrows. The lands of Gastria, once lost in the mists and accessible only by those who ventured on a mistway, also emerged as an island in the south of the Sea of Sorrows in 741 of the Barovian calendar, soon being discovered by navigators and establishing an important trade and cultural exchange. The decade between 740 and 750 also marked the increasing presence of vessels from Paridon. The nation of Zerisha, swallowed and suffocated by the mists, and transformed into the metropolis of Paridon, found a way to its survival in the exploration of the sea through the use of mistways. Its vessels leave the port in the waters of the Nodnau River to cross the mists and emerge in the Sea of Sorrows, close to Blaustein. These fearless navigators, their mist captains, colonial companies, and societies of explorers, excelled in discovering and exploring mistways in the Sea of Sorrows, which connects these seas to the Sea of Saragosse and Sri Haji, the scorching desert sands of the Haraki Desert, and the seas of Rokushima Taiyo. In the year of 750, we had the most recent island unveiled by the mists. Near an archipelago was found the island surrounded by rock cliffs of Dominia, a desolate island where the Cloudheim Asylum for the mentally disturbed was established. This desolate sanatorium has existed as a mist-shrouded island since 740, following the disappearance of Dr. Dominiani of Gundarak. However, in 750, the mists around the island dissipated, and sailors from the Sea of Sorrows encountered this destination on their travels. The movement of patients to this island have become increasingly intense thanks to the partnership's agreement signed between Dr. Dominiani's sanatorium and the Fellowship Shared Clinic from Martyria Bay in Darkon and the Gran Heinz Sanatorium in Lamordia. Despite the dangers of sailing in these waters, the Sea of Sorrows has become a place of intense trade and cultural exchange, even though it is surrounded by mists, horrors, and Blaustein marauding pirates. Although the lack of an outlet to the seas prevented Drak of War intentions from reaching the Sea of Sorrows, recently the Kingdom of Darkon has invested in powerful warships that patrol its oceans. Based in Martyria Bay, these vessels impose their dominance in the northern seas and in some way limit the activity of pirates in these waters. Could Darkon be intending to establish this maritime dominance over these waters? After a night of camaraderie and conversations with our crewmates, we prepare to rest and resume our activities the next day. Before we go to bed, the warning trumpet sounds, and from the mists, a pirate ship from Blausin emerges. Everything happens very quickly, and a fierce clash takes place between the crew. Battle efforts are futile, and we quickly find ourselves overwhelmed and captured by the pirates. Taken as prisoners, we are tied up and thrown into the cellars, along with other prisoners and slaves in deplorable conditions. In the darkness of our prison, we hear the wails and cries of the imprisoned, while some, completely insane, begin to recite the horrors that torment sailors' nightmares. Join us, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications, and together, let's uncover the sinister secrets of the Sea of Sorrow.